Welcome to Healing, Hope, and Health, the program proudly brought to you by Hospice Washington County. I'm Bernadette Wagner, and I'm so glad you could join us for today's show, which promises to be both informative and interesting. Today, I'm pleased to welcome two of Hospice of Washington County's extremely dedicated, highly trained patient care managers. Susan Miles and Charlene Lane are both registered nurses with advanced certification in hospice and palliative care nursing. They join us today to talk about their role in coordinating care for hospice patients and to dispel some inaccurate but often repeated myths about the medications used at the end of life. Welcome, Susan. Welcome, Charlene.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Maybe we can start with you a little bit, Charlene. I know that you both are really extremely hardworking. Can you just tell our viewers a little bit about what you do as patient care managers, who you serve, and a basic outline of your responsibilities?
Well, patient care manager has varied responsibilities, of course, but our responsibility is to our team. There are 4 teams. I have the purple team that serves the western portion of the county. Susan has the gold team that serves the farther northern part of the county. Mary Marks has the pearl team that goes east, and Tracy Moser has the teal team that goes the southern part of the county. So the county's divided up in 4. The patients are admitted to the team where they live, where that team serves.
So it's geographically determined.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And
so do the patients have interaction with all the team members, and then you coordinate
the team
that
members.
care?
There are nurses,
Mm-hmm.
registered nurses. Some of the teams have licensed practical nurses. There's social workers, chaplains. There are nursing assistants. Sometimes they are added if needed, and then there's also the volunteers and the bereavement.
And who determines which services each patient receives?
The registered nurse is actually the case manager of the team, and she is the one who goes in, does the initial visit, and determines what the services are that the patient and family needs.
Great. Susan, how about you? Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, that comprises the team that works directly with the patient, but we also have several other people that works with the patient and family. We have a medical director and a nurse practitioner who are there to review the plans of care, to review the medication lists. They are pain experts. They can go into the patient's home to look at the pain medications, see what kind of pain the patient's having, and direct the patient care that way. Mm-hmm. We work with people in the community, the speech therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, pharmacists, and those sorts of people to make sure the patient's care is complete.
Yeah, so I hear you talking a lot about pain management. Can you talk to us a little bit about the pain medications used at the end of life? I know there's often some inaccurate misconceptions about that.
Sure. There are several medications that we use to manage symptoms. Now, they're not always all used at the end of life. One of the ones we use is morphine, and there are several misconceptions about the use of morphine, both among our patients and families and also among the healthcare professionals in this area.
I had visited a patient last week, and her father was in pain, and we were discussing pain medicine, and she said, how high can we go on the pain medicine? And I said that, you know, as long as the patient is experiencing pain, there's not a limit. And she said, I know that morphine kills people. And when I hear that, there's a couple of things that cross my mind. First of all, it's not the medication that has gotten the patient where they are, it's the disease process.
Right.
And so we can make the patient comfortable as they're going through this disease process. Another thing that pops in my mind is any medication used irresponsibly can be dangerous. If you overdose on Tylenol, it will affect your liver and it can be fatal.
Right.
So, and many people are on morphine for many years, I had a friend who was on morphine for years for pain that she had. It is not just an end-of-life medication, and that truly is a myth.
And is it true, maybe either of you, both of you could speak to this, I've read different articles, science articles too, that the morphine and other medications that control pain can actually increase the length of a patient's life because the pain symptoms are controlled and the people are not suffering. Is that true? Is that accurate?
There have been numerous studies that show that people who are enrolled with hospice do in fact live longer than people who do not use hospice services. One of the reasons is their pain is better controlled. We can control all the symptoms at the end of life better, which not only adds to their number of days and their time, but also their quality of life.
And how important is that for them to have that time with their family?
Right, that is the utmost important. And in hospice, we're all about the patient's comfort. We will do what it takes. Pain medications people tend to be afraid of, but basically it's education. They want to know what's going to happen. They want to know the side effects of these medications, and we can provide that information to provide just some basic comfort.
And Charlene, you said you spoke with a patient or a family member last week.
Yes.
When you took the time to educate her about the benefits of controlling pain and the pain management techniques, did that give her a peace of mind? And
I think it takes time. It's not something that you can just go in. These myths are difficult to dispel. I think another thing is that many times patients are on so many medications, and that is something that we can work with a primary care physician to get them off some of the meds, and their quality of life is much better.
thank you so much for being here. I'd like to thank Susan and Charlene for being with us today and for helping us to more fully understand why certain medications are used at the end of life, how they benefit patients, and how this knowledge can benefit the families. The more we know, the more we can make informed decisions for ourselves and our loved ones. I'd also like to thank you, our viewers, for joining us. If you have any questions about hospice, please call us or email us at info@hospiceofwc.org. We'll be right back after these messages.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you. I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
The pain will not control us, because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Hi, I am Dr. Olenzak at the Pain and Spine Institute. I specialize in the most advanced procedures and technology available in pain management. At your visits and procedures, you will always see me for continuity of care. I would like to thank all of my patients for allowing me to provide you with the specialized care that you need. To give you this level of care requires a team. This is your team at the Pain and Spine Institute. To become a patient, call 301-739-7900 or go to painfree-md.com.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Health, where I now have the privilege of introducing Barb Sweeney, Director of Nursing at NMS Healthcare. Barb received her RN degree in 2000 and has been working in various aspects of healthcare for the past 15 years. In the past, she's worked as a urology nurse and as a nurse in the long-term and ventilator units at the Western Maryland Hospital. She began working at NMS in 2007 and was later named the Director of Nursing, a position she's held for the past 5 years. She joins us today to talk about both her professional and personal experience with hospice of Washington County. Welcome, Barb. I'm grateful that you could be here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Barb, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about how hospice makes a difference at NMS.
Well, I'm proud to say that I think we have probably the largest hospice clientele in the community. We work really well with hospice, from everywhere from the admission process to the discharge process, however that may be. They are a great help to us in just the care that they give the patients, the one-on-one care that maybe we're not able to give. You know, when you're a GNA in today's community, a geriatric nursing assistant, it's obviously you have more than one patient. You could have up to 10, 12, 15, it just depends on what the day is like, and having them come in and offer that extra pair of hands, that extra one-on-one help is a big relief to our staff and our nurses, not only to mention the nursing staff that gives the one-to-one attention. That is a huge help to us.
And I know your staff, as well as the hospice staff, are incredibly compassionate and present to not only the patient, but to the families.
They are.
How does hospice work in your center with the families that are there?
They're great with the families. They attend care plan meetings, you know, however often we may have them. They are there from the admission process with the family to discuss hospice with the family, answer all of their questions. You know, you've got an awesome team of social workers, nurses, GNAs.
The chaplains.
The chaplains are, can't say enough about them. They've been great, not only to the hospice staff, but the non-hospice. But they answer every question for the families. A big thing for us is, in the end, should they pass away in our home, hospice is there to handle everything from the, calling the family to, the release of the body to the funeral home. And that's a big relief to our staff. We get very close to these people.
Right.
You know, they become like family, and to have them help us with that and assist us with that is just a major relief.
And I know our chaplains wind up supporting staff in the facilities as well.
They do, and your social workers, and your nurses. It's really a team effort. Occasionally you'll have a staff member that's very, very close to a dying patient and their family. I have actually had some friends that have had their parents in there and I'm very close to already, and they are a great relief. They are a great relief for the mind, for the spirit, for a little bit of everything.
Okay, so you've told us a little bit about your professional interaction with hospice. I know you also had a personal experience with hospice. Would you care to tell us a little bit about that?
I did. It was about 2 years ago. My husband's father was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and we made the decision with the family to bring him into our home. Not only did I have ambulance transport hooked up the first day, I also had hospice on board. I was able to call and tell him what was going on, the admission, and by that night the nurse was in there assessing him, and he was picked up. I had all my supplies the next day. I mean, it was a very, very smooth transition. We could not have done it without them. Whenever anybody is thinking about taking a loved one into their home, there is a lot to think about. It can be a strain on your relationship. It can be a strain on your work. It can be a strain on you getting sleep. There are so many things to consider. But having hospice there to help us was such a great, great relief. And at the end, when the end finally did come, they were there. They were there to handle everything. I mean, the family's grieving enough. That's the last thing you want to worry about, and they were there with us every step of the way.
Did you or your family members take advantage of the bereavement services that are offered?
We did. We have, my husband and I and one of his brothers. We have attended some of those, and it's been even 2 years later, it still kind of gets to you, and it's been a great help. And of course, the chaplains, I still talk to them when they come into the home, and yeah, it was a good experience. It allowed him to die with dignity.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit. I know NMS is doing an expansion. Can you talk very briefly about that?
Yes, we are. We are opening a 56-bed ventilator unit. The ribbon cutting for that will be January the 13th. It's going to be an open house. Anybody's welcome to come by, tour the unit, see what we've got going on. In addition to the ventilators, pulmonary care, we are also going to do bedside dialysis. It will be hemodialysis 5 days a week, one of the first of its kind in the nation.
Oh,
so we're
great.
pretty excited about that. We're hoping to start taking residents by the early spring.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm grateful to Barb for joining us and for sharing her perspectives on the services provided by Hospice of Washington County. To me, her words carry extra validity as she has experienced Hospice of Washington County both professionally and personally. Barb has witnessed the staff's dedication and compassion and understands that dying is a normal part of living. Christine Cowgill, an author who writes on the spiritual aspects of dying, said, quote, "Death should not be viewed as a medical failure, but as a natural conclusion to life." I'm hoping that our lives may be happy and productive, and that their natural conclusions will be celebrated as lives well lived. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 Villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
Welcome back. We are fortunate to have Kathy Campbell join us again for Bereavement Briefs, the portion of our show dedicated to supporting those who are coping with the loss of a loved one. As the manager of bereavement services at Hospice of Washington County, Kathy is frequently asked, what is the best way to support someone who is grieving? She joins us today to share ideas, give advice, and offer tips on how to support friends, neighbors, relatives, and family members who are grieving. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
So glad you're here. So Kathy, I know in past shows you've talked to us about how we're all individuals and we are different in just about every way. Can you tell us about some of the ways that we differ in grieving?
Sure. The way that we grieve really does have a lot to do with a number of factors. One factor would be, who is the person that died? Because for one person to experience a death of, say, a parent might be very different than someone who experiences the death of a child versus someone else who experiences the death of a third cousin.
Right.
So the relationship does matter, as well as the nature of the relationship. Was it a satisfying relationship? Was it a conflicted relationship? Somewhere in the middle. Everyone is going to grieve, but those can be factors that contribute. Mm-hmm. In addition, just the cause of the death, how the death occurred. Was it a natural death? Was it an accident? Was it a suicide? Was it a homicide? In addition, the individual really plays a big role in this. What are the coping skills of the individual? What is their coping style? Mm-hmm. We're all so very different, and what we bring to a death experience is very different.
So even maybe like an introvert or an extrovert, they would grieve differently because their natures are different.
Sure. The one way that we differentiate is we have people who are very expressive, very demonstrative, very much in touch with their feelings. They feel their feelings strongly and have a need to talk about it and really emote outwardly. Other people are not comfortable with that at all, and they tend to be quite the opposite. They tend to internalize
and hold
their pain,
tight.
hold it inside,
Mm-hmm.
and be more in control of their feelings.
Mm-hmm. So what do individuals who are grieving, what do they need? How can we support them? What do they need?
A couple of things are very important to the whole grieving process in terms to get in a way of getting to healthy resolution, if you will. One is very simply time. Mm-hmm. Time is essential. It's not just a matter of days or weeks or even months, and then we're back to normal, whatever normal might be. It really does take quite a bit of time. In addition to time, we need to do what we consider to be grief work. And that is very simply to be able to sit with our emotions and our thoughts and however the grief manifests within us, to be able to sit with that, process that, and then find a way to let that go. Let go of the negatives that brings. We also need to be able to grieve in a way that is commensurate with our style. So if we are that type of individual who grieves in a very outwardly open, expressive way and needs to talk, for them to have that kind of environment would be very helpful, very, very important. Just the opposite, if that's not your style, but maybe you keep things more inside, to be not forced to feel like you have to talk in order to be healthy.
So when I listen to you talk, I think one of the main takeaways is there's not one right way to grieve.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, what have you found to be helpful to those who are hurting, and what kinds of things can we do to help them?
Sure. Again, this would be a very individualized plan of care or plan of action, if you will. But I think there are some general things that we can keep in mind, and probably the most important one is if we try to meet people where they are, not where we think they should be, not where we think that they're going. It's not pulling them through, it's not pushing them through this process, it's just meeting them where they are.
Being present.
Being comfortable with someone in pain is a very important piece of all of this. If someone is grieving and they've got a lot of tears, to learn to be okay with that.
I know that you have some tips that you've put together for people, as if they're tips coming from somebody who is grieving. Would you mind sharing some of those with us briefly?
Sure. I think to be able to help someone remember, to be able to even refer to the deceased by name can be very important for the person who is grieving, not to feel like their loved one was forgotten. Just be present, be with me, help me remember, help me forget, help me laugh, help me cry. Ask the grieving individual what they need to be able to meet their needs.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Kathy for being a guest today, and thank you for tuning in. The more we know about the grieving process, the more we can help those we care about. For more information on this topic, visit Hospice of Washington County's website and check out whatsyourgrief.com. We'll be right back after these messages.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
This is our home. It's where we've all decided to put down roots and raise families, not because we had to, because we wanted to. And as a business owner, you pour every ounce of energy into doing what's right for you in this community, and you won't and you don't stop until you get what you want, and neither do we. We're Antietam Cable Productions, and it's time to stand up and be seen and heard. You have a voice, and we'll help you tell your story. Antietam Cable Productions, putting the beat into the heart of your business.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you. I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend to everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
Welcome back. It's my privilege to introduce our next guest, Ms. Kara Neer. Kara graduated from Shepherd University with a degree in communication and news media before establishing her own business, Kara Neer Photography. She's a passionate artist specializing in natural light photography that has extensive training in classic darkroom methods and digital media. It's a very special way Kara is involved in Hospice of Washington County's 35th anniversary celebration. She joins us today to talk about her project and her motivation for getting involved. Hi, Kara. Thanks for
Hi.
being here.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. So first, tell us a little bit about your business and what it means to specialize in natural light photography.
Okay. Well, I started my business 2 years ago in 2012, so I guess by the end of this year will be my 3-year anniversary officially. And instead of working with more of the old school, like indoor lighting methods, I like working outside as much as I can, even in the winter time. But you know, to work with businesses and to do weddings and stuff, sometimes I do work inside with artificial lighting, so that's not a problem. But I just love the way natural light looks on clients and how it just kind of, it looks a little different than whenever you're using like artificial light.
Right, right. So can you tell us, our viewers a little bit about the special project you're doing to help Hospice of Washington County celebrate 35 years of service in our community?
Yeah, sure. I am helping revamp the name tags because the pictures on there were a little outdated, so now everybody will have a uniform picture and they're all going to look really professional and probably be proud of their picture now.
Right, now we don't like to wear our badges, but
you don't
now
have to hide behind your badges anymore. So
yeah, that'll be great. I will tell you that some of my colleagues have talked about this magic light that you use. Can you tell our viewers what the magic light is?
Yes, I love working with ring lights. They're really good. They're a very bright fluorescent light, and it's used a lot of times in modeling, but I found that they're really good for headshots because they kind of they take all of the blemishes away and imperfections and just make everybody feel good. So even when people feel really uncomfortable getting their pictures, I usually show them after a ring light shot and they're like, oh, well, that's not even too bad. I kind of like it.
Yeah, so it's a little light that they hold,
yes,
right?
They hold it right in front of their face, and then I can adjust it to their height, and it makes everybody look really pretty.
Yeah, so some of the folks at Hospice have said that they look 15 years younger and 10 pounds lighter, so you know, it is a magic light.
That's awesome.
So I know my colleagues are thrilled with these pictures, and I didn't know if you wanted to maybe talk a little bit about your website so our viewers can see some of your examples of your work.
Yeah, sure. My website is www.karanierphotography.com, just my name and photography. And then I have a Facebook page, which I stay up to date with as well, and it's just facebook.com/karanierphotography. So, and I get a lot of clients through social media, so that's how a lot of people find me.
Okay. So Kara, you say that you are an artist. You have other jobs that you do too. You do digital media for different companies. Exactly what do you do website design?
Yes, I do web design and logo design, graphic design, anything I guess on the new media edge of things. That's what I went to school for, so that's what I like to do.
So you're donating your services to Hospice in order to help us have great pictures and also to celebrate our 35th anniversary. But you did that for a particular reason because of a certain motivation. Can you talk to us a little bit about why you wanted to give back to Hospice?
Sure. My uncle passed away 2 years ago, August 7th, 2012, from cancer, and he had amazing hospice nurses that would come to the house because he passed away at his house, but until the day that he passed away, they never had one complaint about their nurses or their care, and so it was just really important to our family to, I guess, honor such a beautiful company, and to do so with my talents is even better. And it's really cute because every time a hospice nurse would leave my uncle, he'd always tell him to get an ice cream bar on the way out. So it just kind of shows how much he appreciated them, and our family's really close. So if I can do anything in my uncle's honor, I would love to.
And Hospice so greatly appreciates your generosity, your time, your effort, your skills, and we're glad that you're helping us to kick off our 35th anniversary.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Kara for being a guest today on Healing, Hope, and Health, and for helping to make Hospice of Washington County's 35th anniversary celebration special and meaningful. If giving to others enriches one's life, Kara is very rich indeed, and Hospice of Washington County greatly appreciates her generosity. I'd also like to thank you, our viewers, for joining us today, and our business partners and donors who have supported Hospice of Washington County over the past 35 years. We appreciate your trust and the opportunity to make each moment count for those with limited time. If you want to learn more about Hospice, volunteer, or support our mission, please call us at 301-791-6360. Thanks again. See you next time.
Looking through the lens, I see you smiling there. I take a